Well, we'll see if we're going live. We don't know for sure. It's going to be a surprise on YouTube. But we got everybody
Va
here,
a ser
don't
una
we
sorpresa.
already?
¿Ya estamos listos?
Okay. Okay, wow, what a topic.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it live on Facebook right now too?
It might be.
Okay.
We've been having some technical things going on with our streamer. So anyway.
Okay.
So
It is live on YouTube.
oh, thank you, Patty. See,
Yeah, I checked on my phone. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so much love. Thank you, beloveds. Oh my goodness. Thank you for bringing all the holiness and the desire to know the truth here today.
Gracias por traer su santidad y a esta sesión hoy.
This is so holy to want the truth more than we want this crazy, mad idea.
Y esto es muy maravilloso, querer más la verdad que esta loca, pequeña loca idea.
And I've said this several times. I see how important it is to be determined to see.
Y lo he dicho varias veces, la importancia de estar determinados a ver.
To be determined to see the truth.
Decididos a ver la verdad.
Because we know that the ego is self-delusion. It's a decision to be deluded.
Porque sabemos que el ego es el deseo de engañarnos a nosotros mismos.
No wonder Jesus is telling us we're all crazy.
Jesús nos está diciendo que todos estamos locos.
Because sometimes on this journey you'll wonder, am I going crazy?
Porque algunas veces en esta jornada sentimos que nos estamos volviendo locos.
But what's really happening is the ship is going right side up. You're pointing toward heaven, and the ego is going to start throwing out doubt thoughts.
Pero realmente lo que estamos haciendo es volteando el barco y el ego comienza a sacar todo esta, a soltar de cosas y sacar cosas.
So this whole thing about miracle-mindedness, wow.
Y esto, todo lo que tiene que ver con la mente milagrosa, es wow.
When I talk to Jesus, I just have talked to him about this, and it's really an experience. Miracle-mindedness is an experience.
Y he hablado con él como la mentalidad milagrosa es una experiencia.
It's the continual acceptance of the love of the Father.
Es la continua aceptación de todo el amor del Padre.
See, the mind, we've listened to Jesus and followed him so closely and cleared so many desires that the only thing on your mind is miracles, having miracles.
Y entonces vas con Jesús y clarificas todo esto en la mente y te das cuenta que solo lo que hay son milagros.
The miracles are always pointing toward infinite nature instead of the denial that the ego denies anything having to do with infinity.
Y la mentalidad milagrosa te dirige al infinito que eres, al ser infinito que eres. Y el ego quiere negar eso.
This is the whole point of us being together, to see that every single one of us has the power to speak that voice by right.
Y esto es lo poderoso de unirnos, porque cada uno de nosotros podemos escuchar esa voz, la voz de la verdad.
It's so interesting because Jesus, they say Jesus is sitting at the right hand of the Father.
Y se dice que Jesús se sienta al lado derecho del Padre.
Jesus and all of us sit in divinity by right given by the Father. It is our right.
Pero nosotros estamos sentados al lado de él porque es nuestro derecho.
just contemplating that miracle-mindedness, the joy is off the chain.
Y contemplar esta mente milagrosa es el gozo de lo inmutable.
But Jesus talks about everyone's entitled to miracles, but purification is necessary first.
Y Jesús dice, todos tenemos derecho a los milagros, pero se requiere una purificación antes.
See, there's such a in the play of consciousness and the play of the ego, there's such an affiliation toward weakness.
Porque en el juego de la conciencia, en el juego del ego, hay mucho placer por jugar a la debilidad.
And an affiliation with the voice for hell, the wrong-mindedness.
Y la afiliación con la mente errada.
And doing everything possible to avoid hearing the voice for God and following the voice for God.
Y hacer todo lo posible por no oír la voz de Dios y no seguirla.
Following the voice for God is merely saying no to the ego. No, I will not engage in that play of consciousness anymore.
Y seguir la voz de Jesús es dejar de engancharnos con el ego.
I'm asking Jesus if I can say this. He says, yes, so I'm going for it.
Entonces le estoy preguntando a Jesús si puedo decir esto y me dice que sí, entonces vamos por ello.
See, when you speak only what he tells you to say, you are celebrating everything the Father's given you. Everything.
Cuando únicamente lo que hablas es lo que viene de Él, es la celebración de todo lo que el Padre nos da.
Because it's coming out of the celebration of what you are. The wholeness.
Porque viene de la celebración de lo que tú eres, de la plenitud.
Rather than the forked tongue voice that tells stories of the untrue.
En lugar de las historias que de dos que no son ciertas.
So let's ask Jesus, because we can all, this is what we practice here together, is hearing the voice deeply and then speaking it.
Y eso es lo que practicamos aquí, es escuchar la voz y luego hablarla.
Jesus, do I have all the power granted by the Father to accept a miracle instantaneously? Yes or no?
Tengo todo el poder dado por el Padre para aceptar los milagros instantáneamente, ¿sí o no?
But at first, the play in consciousness is to feel powerless.
Pero el juego en la conciencia es sentirnos débiles,
To feel little and helpless.
de sentirnos pequeños e impotentes.
You know, Jesus told me, you don't see how powerful you are, your strength. You don't see your strength, thus you must rely on mine.
Entonces dice que tú no ves, Jesús dice que tú no ves tu fortaleza, por eso tenemos que confiar en la fortaleza de Él.
This is a holy thing to rely on his strength.
Sorry, can you say again?
This is a powerful thing to rely on his strength.
Y ese es el poder, confiar en la fortaleza de Él.
But in the play of consciousness, it's so weak. We just play the game of weakness.
Porque en el juego de la conciencia hay mucha debilidad y nos gusta jugar ese juego de la debilidad.
In the delusion of divine power, all that's given by the Father to his Holy Son.
Y en la ilusión, en el engaño de no ver todo lo que el Padre le ha dado a su Hijo.
I mean, and then we argue with Jesus. Jesus, do I just relish arguing with you?
Y me gusta entonces pelear con Jesús y le pregunto, Jesús, ¿me gusta pelear contigo, Jesús?
See, when the deeper I went with him, the more I knew I needed him. and I wanted his help, like
En-
so with everything.
y entre más profundo voy con él, más me doy cuenta de lo que lo necesito y de lo que necesito su ayuda.
And in that, there's a shift from the wrong-mindedness, which is a hunter. It's like a shark looking for a problem to prove that death is real.
Y el ego es como, como un tiburón tratando de buscar lo que no es real.
But when we're turning toward Jesus, the symbol of wholeness, the symbol of all that we are. Did we lose Maria?
En lugar de girarnos hacia Jesús y como un símbolo de todo lo que somos.
It's turning into all that we are. See, and listening. We're practicing getting back into the shape of all the celebration unending.
Y lo que estamos practicando es volver a la celebración de todo lo que es y que no tiene fin.
That's why consciousness has to make up all kinds of stuff about who Jesus was and how we don't want to talk to him so we can stay in hell.
Y eso es lo que va a hacer la conciencia, tratar de mirar quién fue Jesús y así mantenernos en el infierno,
In the play of denial of divinity.
en el juego de negar la divinidad.
So miracle-mindedness is when there's been a lot of purification of the mind.
Entonces la mentalidad milagrosa se da cuando hemos tenido una gran purificación.
See, miracles are natural and instantaneous because they're acceptance of the love of the Father within.
Porque los milagros son instantáneos, porque es aceptar todo el amor del Padre.
So we have to ask ourselves, like, why wouldn't we accept that 24/7, that reminder, that celebration, that acceptance of all the love of the Father 24/7?
¿Y por qué entonces no aceptamos todo este amor 7/24?
Well, Jesus tells us why, because the play is to be insane.
Pero Jesús nos dice por qué, porque nos gusta estar locos, insensatos.
But in the dreaming, in this dreaming of these plays in consciousness, in the denial,
En el juego, en la conciencia de la negación.
the memory of the miracle, the memory of the acceptance of truth is very dim.
En la aceptación, can you say it again, Kay?
The memory of the love of the Father is dim by design of the tiny mad ideas to make the love of the Father seem far away and impossible.
Queremos ocultar que todo el amor del Padre esté como lejos, como que se vuelva imposible.
So this is why the ego does not want to follow Jesus's plan for the atonement.
Por eso el ego no quiere seguir el plan de Dios para la expiación.
It does not want one of the major portions of his plan is to come together with your brother to start to hear that voice together.
Y la invitación es a que vengan todos a escuchar la voz.
Just 1 minute. Make sure. Yes, okay. Yes, we have a little friend here who's trying to get my attention.
Aquí tenemos un amigo que quiere llamar la atención.
His name is Silencio, but he doesn't know that his name is Silencio.
Él se llama Silencio, pero no sabe que se llama Silencio.
Okay, Silencio. So God has to be evil. In order for consciousness to play its little game of denial of divinity, God must be evil.
Para que se juegue este juego en la conciencia, el Dios tiene que ser el diablo.
And
del mal.
and a lot of times the brother that's going to remind you of your idea of God
Y algunas veces tus hermanos te van a recordar esa idea de Dios.
okay, you may find yourself wanting to avoid them like the plague.
Y vas a encontrar que vas a querer evadirlo.
This is a deep journey of trust.
Este es un profundo viaje de confianza, en
Because
confianza.
as Jesus said, there's no other to be trusting in. There's no God to trust in.
Y no hay un otro en quien confiar, no hay un Dios en quien confiar.
In terms of the idea in consciousness.
En términos de las ideas de la conciencia.
See, trust is a little extension that points back to yourself. You are trusting in yourself as God made you.
Y la confianza te apunta hacia ti mismo, es ir hacia ti porque es confiar en lo que como Dios te hizo.
You're having faith in yourself as God made you.
Es tener fe en ti mismo como Dios te creó.
It's the determination to accept what you've already been granted by the Father.
Y es estar determinado a ver lo que está garantizado por el Padre.
And it's going to take that determination and that joining, that continual joining with your brother to look at all the layers upon layers of desires to deny divinity.
Y eso requiere mucha confianza e ir con tus compañeros poderosos y mirar todas estas capas y capas de deseos de negar.
Because again, in that dreaming, it's to play really weak and not see that we have the power to cease to deny holiness.
Y porque en el juego de la conciencia está esta creencia en la debilidad y no aceptar que tenemos el poder de la divinidad.
So it takes a tremendous amount of looking and joining with your brother and joining and joining and joining to start looking deeply with Jesus so he can coach you to all those denials for release.
Y entonces requiere mucho mirar y mirar y mirar y con Jesús para ver y liberar estos deseos.
And then be coached by him. Here's the denial, and here's why you do not want to let go of it. That is helpful to hear Jesus tell you.
Y es importante escuchar a Jesús para que Él te diga dónde están esas negaciones.
So at first, because of the play, is to order of difficulties of miracles. There's a belief that there's different miracles or are harder to do. Some are easier and harder.
Y entonces lo primero es el grado de dificultad en los milagros, creer que hay unos que son más difíciles y otros más fáciles.
So those have to be washed out, those ideas.
Esas ideas tienen que ser limpiadas.
But really, the only way you trust Jesus enough for him to coach you that deeply in your subconscious mind.
Y confiar en Jesús, que Él te entrenará para mirar la mente subconsciente.
To see that he is not your enemy.
Y darnos cuenta que no es nuestro enemigo.
Is by learning to join, to hear the voice in your instructions and assignments from him for healing the mind.
Y entonces es escuchar su voz y aceptar sus asignaciones para la sanación de la mente.
And then deciding that is exactly what he says it is. It is the only value for this world is to heal the mind.
Y escuchar lo que él dice exactamente, porque es lo único valioso para en este mundo, la sanación de la mente es lo único valioso.
So miracle-mindedness is coming into that state where the miracle is the most important thing. Healing the mind becomes of utmost importance.
Entonces la mentalidad milagrosa te lleva al punto de te das cuenta que lo más importante es sanar tu mente.
So that's a really good thing to ask Jesus. Jesus, am I willing to have healing my mind be the most important thing.
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a que la sanación de la mente sea lo más importante, no, la cosa más importante.
Or am I still trying to hang on to little scraps of the world to try to make them real?
O aún estoy tratando de tomar esos pedacitos para querer hacer que el mundo sea real.
Am I still dancing with the devil of the belief in sacrifice? It's a sacrifice to discover who I am.
Y aún estoy queriendo bailar con el diablo para creer que el sacrificio sacrifice what? Sorry.
It's a sacrifice to discover who I am.
Que se requiere un sacrificio para descubrir quién soy.
Well, to cease to deny who you are.
O para dejar de negar lo que tú eres.
Which is desires. Desire to not. Can you take it? Yeah, thank you.
Pues son deseos de no ser.
All the desires and the layers of the desires. No, Lori, you can stay. Just
Y ver los
okay. No, you don't have to translate that. All the layers of the desires that are the no to God.
Todas las capas de los deseos para negar a Dios.
All the refusals to accept miracles, which is to change the mind.
Todas las formas como nos rehusamos para aceptar los milagros.
See, through that
para cambiar la mente. Sorry.
That's okay. Through that play of weakness, then our perception is about ourselves is so weak. We don't see how the miracle is a changing our mind that desire for hell isn't valuable.
Entonces este juego de ser débiles y no querer cambiar la mentalidad para darnos cuenta de lo que es valioso.
It is really instructive to go down into the subconscious mind and have Jesus show you where you think death is happiness.
Y es muy útil entonces ir profundamente con Jesús y que te muestre cómo crees que la muerte es felicidad.
See, you can read about the course and you can talk about the course.
Tú puedes leer acerca del curso y hablar acerca del curso.
But now he's saying, look, I'm going to give you a direct experience that this course is true.
Y él dice, yo te voy a dar una experiencia directa del que el curso dice la verdad.
So that he can coach you to show you where you think hell is happiness in the subconscious mind.
Y te voy a mostrar dónde en la mente subconsciente crees que la muerte es felicidad.
He's saying no more talking about the course.
Él dice, no más hablar acerca del curso.
Don't go out and talk about it. Live it. Let him talk to him so he can tell you what he's teaching you directly right here.
Y deja que él te enseñe directamente ahí ahora mismo.
So that you have a direct experience that every sentence in that course is true by your direct experience.
Y para que él te muestre que cada palabra en el curso es verdad por experiencia directa.
Because Jesus is saying course students are actually using the course itself to avoid looking with him.
Incluso dice Jesús que los estudiantes del curso están utilizando el curso para evadir mirar con él.
But since you can hear him too, ask him, Jesus.
Entonces pueden preguntarle, todos podemos escuchar.
He's saying the course is only the training wheels to get the conversation direct with him.
Y él dice que el curso es un entrenamiento solo para que tengamos una conversación directa con él.
So the layers of this asteroid belt of
Estas capas y cinturón de de asteroides de negaciones.
So, because if we'd all accept miracles and accepted that they're all the same, you're just sitting in joy all day. That's all that's left.
Y ver que todo es lo mismo y que todo ya pasó.
So the purification he's talking about is purifying out all these ideas, the difficulty of miracle, order of difficulty of miracles.
Y entonces esta purificación es la purificación de la dificultad en los milagros.
God is out to get me.
Dios me va a castigar.
It's sacrifice to accept miracles. Ask him.
Se requiere sacrificio para aceptar los milagros. Pregúntele.
Go ahead, let's be honest. Jesus, do I think it's sacrifice to actually accept miracles somewhere in my subconscious mind? Wouldn't that be a good thing to know?
Y no sería una buena cosa saber que creemos que aceptar milagros es un sacrificio.
Is that lurking? Let him back in. He can come back in.
Is what?
Just has to
Sorry?
behave. I'm just talking to them. They can let Silencio back in. He has to behave though.
Está hablando con algo con silencio. Cerca de silencio.
Pero.
Perro.
Silencio, come. He's downstairs making big trouble now.
Okay.
So all of these layers upon layers, it takes a lot of looking. It just does. It does, because the play is to be so self-deluded.
Entonces todas estas capas se requieren mirar y mirar porque nos encanta autoengañarnos.
But he's sending your brother to look together at all the denials.
Y mirar con tu hermano todas estas negaciones.
And learn to be coached by him so directly.
Y dejar que ser entrenados directamente por él.
And to hear the voice that's going to guide you unerringly home.
Y dejarte guiar por esta voz que te lleva a tu hogar.
But I'm talking to him about the last unanswered question.
Estoy hablando acerca de la última pregunta no contestada.
See, he can help you a little bit. You'll let him crack in there. You give him a little bit of place to get in a word in edgewise.
What was the last part?
You give him just, you'll give him a little bit of spaciousness to come in, but you have to give him 100% spaciousness to come in to help you.
Ok, tú le has dado como un pequeño espacio para que entre y te ayude, pero tienes que darle el 100% del espacio para que él entre y te ayude.
And the way you do that is by following.
Y la forma como haces eso es siguiéndolo.
So he can show you all the places in your subconscious mind where you're saying no and you believe miracles are difficult or impossible.
Y mirar en la mente dónde estás diciendo que no y ver dónde crees que los milagros son imposibles.
And where you desire the experience of weakness and powerlessness.
Y dónde estás eligiendo la debilidad y la impotencia.
Then once that there's been that purification through following, he can really start helping you.
Y él así puede comenzar a ayudarte. ¿Dónde estás eligiendo la impotencia?
The real healing begins when you're willing to say yes to the last unanswered question.
Y la verdadera sanación comienza donde tú le dices sí a la última pregunta no contestada.
Am I willing to see what's true because it's been denied?
¿Estoy dispuesto a ver la verdad porque lo he negado?
Or am I willing to see what I've denied because it's true?
¿O estoy dispuesto a ver lo que he negado porque es la verdad?
Meaning,
¿No es la verdad?
am I willing to see everything Jesus would show me that I'm using to deny myself the kingdom of heaven?
permitir que Jesús te muestre todo donde estás negándote el reino de los cielos.
And when that decision locks into the mind, that is the path to miracle-mindedness.
Y cuando esa decisión está en la mente, esa es la mentalidad milagrosa.
Because like he said to me, I've said it many, he gave me you're really tolerating this talk.
Y entonces, como él me ha dicho a mí, tú toleras mucho esto.
And he was right. I was tolerating it.
Y él estaba en lo correcto, yo lo estaba tolerando.
And until you say, I'm going to see everything no matter what it takes, you will be tolerating the play of the ego.
Y hasta que no estés dispuesto a no decirle no, I lost. Sorry. Say again.
Until you say yes unequivocally to the last unanswered question, you will be tolerating the ego.
Hasta que no le digas sí a la última pregunta no contestada, vas a estar siendo tolerante con el ego.
Because there's some part of the mind that is withholding itself from seeing the truth of divine nature.
Porque hay una parte de la mente que está negando nuestra verdadera naturaleza.
I mean, I just love that. What Muji would say, I am my master's highest teaching.
Como dice Muji, yo soy mi propio gran maestro.
I am my master's highest teaching.
Eso,
Yo
soy
es,
mi propio gran maestro.
okay, I
Was-
am that teaching. You are the Christ. You want to be the symbol in the world of everything given by the Father.
Porque tú eres el Cristo y puedes ser el símbolo de todo lo que te ha sido dado por el Padre en el mundo.
But the asteroid built field of miracle avoidance.
Pero está el asteroide, el cinturón de asteroides de la negación del ego.
Is that in my experience I'm just became so grateful that he would show me everything, every scrap, so there's not one scrap of these things left.
Y yo estaba muy agradecida que él me mostrara directamente de los pequeños, las cosas más pequeñas que aún guardaba.
So let's just say the light circles every night takes on a desire, like the desire to experience powerlessness.
Y entonces digamos que se toma en un círculo de luz de las noches el deseo de la impotencia.
Now let's just have a talk with Jesus. Do I have all the power to open my mind so that you reveal my desire for that so it clears?
Y entonces Jesús, tengo el poder de que me muestres todo y que este milagro, que este deseo sea liberado, limpiado.
Jesus, do I have 100% power to accept a miracle to no longer value the experience of feeling powerless? Do I have that power?
Tengo ese poder, ese 100% de poder de decirle 100% of power of what? Sorry, Kate.
Do I have all the power granted me by the Father to completely cease to value that experience in my mind?
Entonces tengo el poder garantizado por el Padre para dejar de negar este deseo.
To accept a miracle. Accepting a miracle is merely changing the mind that some form of weakness has value.
Porque la aceptación del milagro es aceptar que de alguna manera ser débil no tiene valor.
So that's why following him unequivocally is that's acceptance of strength. When you don't follow him unequivocally, then you're investing in the bank of death and weakness.
Porque cuando no, cuando aceptas la debilidad, estás invirtiendo en el banco. Cuando aceptas el ego, estás aceptando la debilidad y invirtiendo en el banco de la debilidad.
So following is accepting miracles. They're the same.
Porque seguir es aceptar los milagros, es lo mismo.
Because miracles are merely saying no to these ego concepts.
Porque el ego va a decir no a estos conceptos.
And then accepting the love of the Father instead.
Y en lugar de esto, aceptar el amor del Padre.
And see, as the mind purifies through tons of forgiveness, I thought I'd forgiven my brains out. I've said this, and forgiving and forgiving.
Y entonces esto de perdonar y perdonar es lo que hace que la mente se purifique.
But the one who knows is going to be the one who's going to show you the fastest and most effective, efficient way to release this subconscious asteroid belt out of your mind.
Porque el que sabe nos va a ayudar a liberarnos de todo este cinturón de asteroides.
And then as the mind purifies, then it's like a lockdown in your mind. You'll see it. Remember, he says you can choose. You can see you're choosing this insanity.
Porque está como cerrado esto, pero tienes que darte cuenta que tú estás eligiendo esto.
So that's the only thing the ego is avoiding when it's not following. It's avoiding seeing that it made the whole thing up.
Porque eso es lo que quiere el ego, negar que todo esto lo ha fabricado,
You know,
que ha sido fabricado.
uses all the complaints, all the complaints. Jesus is going to make me do something I don't want to do.
Y usa todas estas quejas. Jesús me va a hacer algo que no quiero.
No, we already know. We've heard from Jesus. That is the code word for I don't want to see what you're going to show me, Jesus.
Vemos con Jesús que esto es lo mismo que decir, no quiero que me muestres.
It's saying to him, I do not want you to show me that I'm holy. That's what that's saying. Ask him.
Y preguntémosle, ver que no quiero ver que soy santo.
So let's just ask him, Jesus, when I'm not following you, that's because I don't want to see that I'm holy. Is that right?
Jesús, cuando no te sigo, ¿eso quiere decir que yo no quiero ver que soy santo?
Lena's back there, chair. Yes. That's the only reason not to follow is not to see that you're holy. That's the bottom line.
Y porque esa es la única razón, no querer ver que eres santo.
Not following is choosing weakness, powerless, and death. That's
y no seguirlo es escoger la debilidad, la impotencia y la muerte.
So as we emphasize here, and Jesus is emphasizing, because it's for us to emphasize it, to remind ourselves we have only one function.
Y él enfatiza y nos recuerda que tenemos solo una función.
And that is to accept miracles.
Y esta es la de aceptar los milagros.
For completion, because as the miracles are ceasing to deny all these fragments, using these fragments to deny that we're one.
Porque el ego son estos fragmentos que niegan que somos uno.
The fragments are denying that God does one thing. He makes happiness. That's creation is happiness. That's it.
Y estos fragmentos que niegan que la creación es felicidad.
Creation is not painting or music, or it's not creation.
Y porque la creación no es la pintura, la música.
Creation is love celebrating itself.
La creación es el amor celebrándose a sí mismo.
creation is Holy Communion. It's just love, joy, just celebrating. It's celebrating. That's it.
Es gozo y felicidad celebrándose a sí mismo.
You know, the ego's writing a letter home going, that doesn't sound very good.
Y el ego va a escribir una carta quejándose de que esto no suena como bien.
Jesus, am I so used to death and destruction that I don't even realize that I'm denying myself love using death and destruction?
Jesús, estoy tan acostumbrada a la destrucción y a la negación que no quiero ver esto.
It's illuminating when you hear him tell you.
Es muy iluminador cuando Él te lo dice.
You know, I was thinking that Revelation, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know.
Ay, no me
I don't even
acuerdo
think
qué
what I was.
pensaba que era la revelación.
But a form of revelation that we need to have desperately is for Jesus to show us reveals to us where we're lying the tar out of ourselves about who we are. That's revelation.
La revelación es que nos muestre Jesús quiénes somos.
Revelation is having Jesus reveal where you don't want miracles. That's
La revelación es dejar que Jesús nos revele dónde no queremos los milagros.
Yes, you can have things be revealed to you through meditating on infinite light. You can realize, wait a minute, there's something here undying.
Y entonces podemos ver que en estos círculos nos puede ser revelado y darnos cuenta dónde estamos muriendo.
It's helpful.
Es muy útil.
And a lot of spiritual traditions contemplate light. It is helpful.
Es muy útil. En muchas tradiciones es muy útil contemplar la luz.
But the ego hides all kinds of stuff in the catacombs of the subconscious mind, the desire for pain and suffering.
Pero el ego va a lanzar muchas cosas en las catacumbas de la mente.
And so many who seemingly in the reflection are awakened, they still will have these huge long patches, suicidal thoughts, and they will have illnesses and all those sorts of play in consciousness.
Y hay estas personas que están en este proceso, pero que aún tienen enfermedades y mucho juego en la conciencia.
So it's not to judge that, it's to let Jesus teach you from that.
No es para juzgar eso, sino para dejar que Jesús nos enseñe a través de eso.
That if there's not perfect peace and joy, then just more to see. Just more, show me Jesus. That's just your next thought. Show me Jesus. What do I need to see?
Y si no hay paz constante, entonces tienes que decirle a Jesús, muéstrame qué necesito ver.
And then the acceptance of miracles to the point where you see that it's just a decision that you have always had the power to make.
Y ver que tú tienes todo el poder para hacerlo.
And Miracle-Mindedness is that switch, and just that there is nothing you're going to accept other than a miracle. It's like,
y la mentalidad milagrosa es aceptar que no vas a permitir nada más que eso.
see, the miracle becomes the only thing of value.
Y el milagro se vuelve la única cosa valiosa.
So you have to ask him, this is honesty of God. Jesus, am I making the miracle the most valuable thing to me?
Y esto es la honestidad de Dios. Preguntémosle a Jesús, ¿estoy haciendo que la mentalidad milagrosa sea lo más importante para mí?
So this is really where it's important to be in that honesty of God, that honesty of the voice within telling you and letting you know where you're self-deceptive.
Y esto es donde se requiere la honestidad de Dios y mirar dónde no estás aceptando esto.
And then if he tells you that you are avoiding miracles or it's not your priority, then you can talk to him directly about that.
Y dejar que Él te diga si no, los milagros no son tu prioridad y que Él te muestre directamente y hablar con Él directamente acerca de esto.
Remember, the ego is going to get involved and help you feel how bad you're just a bad person for not accepting miracles. No, put all that aside.
Entonces, el ego va a querer decir, mira, eres una mala persona porque no estás aceptando los milagros, pero pon eso a un lado.
That's just another form of avoidance. So just ignore that. Go directly to the one who knows. This one.
Porque esa es otra forma de evadir y simplemente ve con el que sabe.
And then open up the conversation with him to go, okay, Jesus, can you show me where in the subconscious mind I think there's a difficulty in order of miracles, where I think
Y
that's
entonces,
valuable.
y entonces vas con Jesús y le dices, muéstrame dónde creo que hay orden de dificultad en los milagros y que eso es valioso.
Where I think something other than God is valuable.
Que cualquier otra cosa que no sea Dios es valiosa.
Where I think that something other than healing my mind is valuable.
Donde creo que otra cosa diferente a la sanación de mi mente es valiosa.
Miracle-Mindedness is just celebration. It's just so much happiness in that.
Y la mentalidad milagrosa es, hay mucha felicidad en esta mentalidad milagrosa.
I'm asking him, because he says you have the single pointed desire now instead of all these different desires for experiences.
Y la idea es tener un solo deseo y no todos estos deseos de las experiencias.
Then the mind hones in on the desire for God and his kingdom being the desire, the key desire, the focus of the mind.
Y tener el deseo, un foco, el deseo del Dios y su reino.
See, and miracle-mindedness is even beyond that. It's just, I feel the love of God. Lori's beautiful song.
Entonces esta hermosa canción que dice, siento el amor de Dios.
I am the love of God.
Soy el amor de Dios.
It's a direct experience. You don't go around saying I'm the love, but it's just happiness. That's all God makes, and that's all you experience.
Y eso es lo que Dios hizo, felicidad.
Because you see the power that your mind has not to accept anything but that.
Porque tu mente tiene el poder de aceptar eso y nada más.
You see the power your mind has to say no to the untrue, saying no to pain, no to suffering, true use of denial.
El verdadero uso de la negación, decirle no al dolor, no al sufrimiento.
And I can have a miracle instead of this, where you're living that. I'm going to have a miracle. I am not accepting one thing that is untrue. I am only accepting miracles.
Y voy a aceptar un milagro en lugar de esto. Y no voy a aceptar nada que no sea un milagro.
And it's just so that every time you turn to Jesus, every time you accept a miracle, it's turning toward Holy Communion, communion with Source, just happiness engine.
Y entonces cada vez que aceptas un milagro es aceptar la comunión.
It's saying no to the hell engine.
Es decirle no al motor del infierno.
See, once all those subterranean desires are no longer desired and kept like little treasures under there.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Once all the subconscious desires are released to miracles,
cuando todos estos deseos subconscientes son liberados a milagros,
there's no desire for other. There's no desire for something other than happiness.
No hay un deseo más por un otro, no hay sino el deseo de la felicidad.
So he's giving such a direct, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful. Then it's so direct. This is so direct.
Estoy muy, muy agradecida porque esto es muy directo.
So he's talking about, okay, First of all, it's important not to interpret, because the ego is going to interpret, oh, I'm doing a good job healing and I'm doing a bad job. Just ignore that. Let
Porque
Jesus-
el ego va a querer interpretar y te va a decir, ¿estás haciendo un buen trabajo con la sanación o no estás haciendo un trabajo con la sanación? Buen
Let's
trabajo con la sanación.
see if you can catch this bird. Let this land in your heart about miracles.
Y bueno, dejemos que esto aterrice en nuestro corazón.
Okay? You'll see that over several nights he might give the same desire.
In- Incluso pueden pasar varias noches con el mismo deseo.
Let's just say, okay, it's I desire an experience from the course. I believe my brother can tear heaven for me.
Entonces, este deseo del curso que dice que creo que mi hermano me puede arrancar el cielo.
Okay, so you check in with Jesus. Jesus, do I desire an experience that my brother can tear heaven for me? I mean, that experience, is that lurking in my subconscious mind?
Y entonces vas con Jesús y le dices, Jesús, este está en mi mente subconsciente, este deseo de que mi hermano me pueda robar el cielo,
Yes or
arrancar
no?
el cielo, ¿sí
Yes or
o
no?
no?
Okay. See, we need to get to the point. It's essential that you can hear him give you the yes, no on that so he can tell you what's hiding out under there.
Y entonces tienes que ir al punto con él y permitir que él te diga si sí o si no está este deseo.
You know, because at first when I was looking, it's like, oh, just, I don't think so.
Porque cuando comienzas a mirar esto, dices, no, yo no creo que lo tenga.
Anybody who's been in those light circles can probably relate to this. At first, you're thinking, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, after a little bit of meditation, your eyes kind of pop open because you see the devil's horns come out, underneath
Y
there.
entonces, primero dices, no, yo no creo que lo tenga. Y después comienzas a darte cuenta cuando vas profundizando que comienzan a salir los cachos del diablito.
Because when he takes you down there and you see he's right, that you really do relish that experience of a brother coming around and feeling like someone's stealing heaven from you, it's humbling.
Y entonces es muy humilde cuando te das cuenta que en verdad él tiene la razón y que es muy humilde darnos cuenta que evidentemente sí tenemos este deseo y que lo disfrutamos.
But when you're really willing to see that and let him do his job.
Y cuando estamos totalmente dispuestos a ver esto y dejarlo hacer a él su trabajo.
His job, I will reveal in your willingness.
Es su trabajo. Yo te revelaré esto si es tu voluntad.
Okay, Jesus, will you reveal to me the desire in my subconscious mind for this experience?
Jesús, me revelarías el deseo subconsciente de tener esta experiencia.
And he wants you to know that when you recognize that your mind is so powerful that right there and then when he shows it to you and starts showing you all that energy, you can accept the miracle fully and just move through that thing.
Y que tienes el poder de aceptar inmediatamente el milagro y dejar que todas estas energías salga.
Okay, but because of all this play and these doubts and thinking that desire is heaven, you'll notice he has to keep giving that assignment over several days.
Y entonces, pero como no quieres creer esto, entonces esta asignación se te da por varios días para mirar y mirar que estas capas.
And it's good that you're willing to look. And a lot of times, as you notice, after about the fourth day, you're going, there just can't be anything more here.
Incluso pueden pasar varios días y tú dices, no, pero no puede ser que aún todavía haya algo.
But then suddenly you'll see there is more to see here. I need to trust him that he's going to show me this.
Y si él te lo dice es porque hay algo más que ver y si confías en Él, Él te lo mostrará.
But he's reminding the only reason why there's not an relatively immediate acceptance of the miracle because you still think heaven is in that desire.
Y si no hay una rápida liberación de estos milagros, porque aún hay valor en este deseo.
Or there's sacrifice from giving it up. There's some kind of
O
play.
o el juego de que hay sacrificios si renuncias a ello.
So what he's saying is once you've seen enough of them, he's saying, look, you have the power. I would ask him, Jesus, will you take me all the way with this?
Y le preguntamos a Jesús, ¿me llevarías todo el camino con esto?
He can only take us where we're willing to go.
Porque Él nos puede llevar únicamente a donde estamos dispuestos a ir, hasta donde estamos dispuestos a ir.
But when your mind becomes so used to seeing these plays and not tolerating and going, he is showing me something I need to see, and I'm going to get a miracle for that just as fast as he can show me the places in my mind that I'm denying the miracle.
Entonces le decimos, Jesús, muéstrame los lugares donde estoy negando el milagro.
You will see quickly it becomes the miracle. Your mind turns to miracle-mindedness, and it's just, if he shows it to me, I'm going with him to get my miracle.
Y entonces así vuelves tu mentalidad milagrosa cuando vas con Él y vas directo y dices vas hasta donde logres el milagro.
I'm going to change my mind. I am not going to evaluate or, like he would say, tolerate this play in my mind any longer.
Cuando dices no voy a tolerar más este deseo en mi mente.
And then you could really open to have him just coach everything, and you just get happier and happier because all that subterranean hell place stuff washes out. He's just showing you, here you need a miracle there, you need a miracle there.
Entonces cuando esto es limpiado y Él te muestra, mira dónde se necesita un milagro, mira ahí se necesita un milagro, esto puede ser limpiado
And
totalmente.
then it becomes about one thing, either
Entonces se
happiness,
convierte en una sola cosa.
it's happiness or I need a miracle.
O es felicidad o necesito un milagro.
And more than that, I'm going to get a miracle for that. I'm not going to tolerate anything other than happiness. Do you see how that's where our mind has to come to?
Y así tiene que convertirse la mente. No voy a aceptar sino la felicidad y entonces voy por el milagro.
It has to come to the point where you see how powerful you are to cease to deny yourself.
Y ir al punto donde te das cuenta lo poderoso que eres y dejas de negar y dejas de negarte.
If he's saying in the course, I will send you mighties.
Y él dice en el curso, yo te mandaré compañeros poderosos.
I will give you mighty companions in holy relationships.
Yo te daré compañeros poderosos y relaciones santas.
Then you have to see how important it is to only accept the relationships that he gives you for healing the mind.
Y ver que únicamente lo útil es únicamente aceptar las relaciones que él te da para la sanación de la mente.
If he's telling us, I will tell you everywhere to go.
Yo te diré todo, él nos dice, yo te diré todo a dónde necesitas ir.
Then the only option for those who want to be the living example of everything in the course, in truth, not a side plan.
Y los que quieren ver la verdad en verdad y no tener un plan sustituto.
Then you accept everywhere he would send you and you go.
Y él vas a aceptar todo lugar a donde él te diga que vayas y vas simplemente.
And you say unequivocally no to anything else.
Y dices inequívocamente no a cualquier otra cosa.
Because you
que
have
no
to
sea
see that accepting some of these little sidetrack projects is saying no to yourself.
Porque cuando aceptas estos otros trabajos es decirte no a ti mismo.
It's saying no to all that you are because you're investing in the ego. You're putting your money in the bank of death and telling yourself this is a really good deal.
Y porque hacer eso es poner tu dinero en el banco de la muerte y creer que eso es un buen trato.
You know, you follow everything he tells you.
Tú sigues todo lo que él te diga,
You look at everything that he shows you in your mind.
miras todo lo que él te muestre en tu mente,
You listen to everything he tells you that you need to know.
escuchas todo lo que él dice que necesitas saber
And you open to be willing to be shown everything.
y te abres a que te muestre todo.
Give it to me, Jesus.
Dámelo tú, Jesús.
And I know it feels like backpedaling. I said, what have I said?
Como que quieres retroceder y decir, uff, ¿qué estoy diciendo?
Because like I can feel, you feel like you're the little kid on the trike, boy. You're just trying to, you don't know how to put that thing in reverse fast enough. You just want to backpedal it so bad out of this.
Y como que no, o como estos chiquillos que no saben cómo dar reverso a eso rápidamente.
But you'll see in the movies that we watch together, I don't know which three he's given for this movie marathon.
Por ejemplo, cuando vemos películas juntos y no sé cuáles películas van a dar para esta nueva maratón.
But you'll see in a lot of them, it's pedal to the metal focus. It's just this focus in the mind of going for it.
Y ver que esto es enfocarnos en la mente y ir por ello.
But that is such a great reflection of what it takes to go all the way with Jesus.
Y esta es una maravillosa reflexión de ir todo el camino con Jesús.
And not to go sideways and the little back eddies. The ego just throws out all kinds of trash. It's like
Porque el ego va a querer botar todo tipo de basura e irse por las por
you're
los
homing in on
lados.
God. You think you're homing in on God, and all of a sudden, you know how those jets are flying and they throw that chaff out to take out the missile? Yeah.
Sorry, los
Well, submarines do it too. It's like this little metal sparkle things that they'll distract an oncoming torpedo, and they put it out there to distract the torpedo coming in.
como estos submarinos que lanzan como unas, bueno, algo para que distraer a los torpedos que vienen a atacarlos.
That's what Jesus is saying. You're getting attracted to all these little sparkles in consciousness, all the little smorgasbord, plays that are personal preferences, but they're the direct path to hell.
Y Jesús dice que nos encanta estas distracciones y seguir nuestras preferencias y eso es elegir el infierno.
But the ego's so tricky, you don't see how you're investing in the bank of death.
Pero el ego es muy engañoso y no deja ver que estamos invirtiendo en el banco de la muerte.
I was telling the story this week. I told a story about the rabid dog in the backyard.
Y estaba hablando estos días de la historia del conejo en el jardín.
The parorabia.
¿Del qué?
The parorabia. The rabid dog.
De la rabia, de la rabia del perro que de aquí en el jardín.
Okay, so this guy goes over to his neighbor's house and he knocks on his neighbor's door. He says, "I do not know what's happening. There is this crazy rabid dog in my backyard and he keeps biting me. I don't know why he's biting me."
Y estaba este animal que me quería morder.
And his neighbor goes over and looks in his backyard and he says, "Well, of course he's biting you. He's coming because you're feeding him."
Y me dice, claro que que te va a morder porque tú lo estás alimentando.
That is what we forgot. See, the face of innocence is to forget that we're feeding the rabid dog that's biting us.
Y entonces no queremos ver que le estamos alimentando al perro que tiene rabia.
And how do we do that? By investing in the desire for the experience of something other than God, valuing an experience of something other than holiness.
Y lo hacemos cuando invertimos en el deseo de algo más diferente a Dios y de algo más diferente a nuestra santidad.
But at least the good news about the rabid dog is he could see the dog biting him.
Y lo particular es ver cómo el perro, alimentamos al perro que tiene rabia.
He could see the food there that he's putting the food out to attract the dog.
Y ver cómo le ponen la comida para atraer al perro.
So in the ego's world, we have chosen to forget that we are feeding it through desires. We're deciding that experience.
Que nosotros queremos olvidar que nosotros estamos alimentando al ego y que lo alimentamos a través de los deseos.
So we decided to have amnesia, okay, that we're feeding a beast in our backyard.
Entonces olvidamos que tenemos amnesia y que estamos alimentando a la bestia en el jardín.
Now this part of it really upsets the ego.
Esta parte es la aceptación del ego.
See, the ego don't want to hear this part, but I'm going to say it anyway.
No, pero el ego no va a querer escuchar esto,
You
pero lo
know,
voy a decir de
because-
todas maneras.
Oh, the ego doesn't want to see this. It gets really mad.
El ego no quiere ver esto porque se va a poner muy loco.
But if you catch this, you can be on your way out of hell pretty quick, okay?
Pero si tú coges esto, vas a
Okay.
ir rápidamente al cielo.
So what the ego uses is time.
Lo que el ego usa es el tiempo
So it has amnesia that it fed the dog.
y tener así amnesia de que está alimentando al perro.
And then it's feeding the dog under there, and then it saves up to have like a ghost dog come and bite you sometime down the timeline.
Y como que algún fantasma de por allá en la línea de tiempo atrás lo está alimentando, como si lo estuviera alimentando.
It's like all of a sudden you're sick, or some kind of horrific thing has happened. What happened? God, you're forsaking me, kind of thing.
Entonces, si por ejemplo tienes una experiencia de muerte y entonces dices, oh Dios, tú me estás haciendo esto.
You can ask Jesus. Chances are you did not follow guidance so that you could have that feeling like you got bit by the ghost dog. You don't know where it
Y
came from.
entonces, si tú no lo sigues, es como si quisieras ver que el perro lo está alimentando un fantasma, no sé, por allá que no conozco.
See, at first it is not funny to think about that. Let me tell you though, that's why the world ends in happy laughter, because you see that you're choosing that when you're not following guidance.
Entonces, por eso es que el mundo va a terminar en una sonrisa feliz porque te vas a dar cuenta que tú has elegido todo eso.
You can ask them if that's true. Have a talk. This is a good thing to know.
Y tú le puedes pregúntale porque es una buena cosa para saber.
They can go get smoking mad over that. What do you mean? Like, and if I don't follow, then I'm going to be punished. No, you're not following so you can experience punishment and suffering and guilt. You're choosing not to follow to keep that experience of hell.
Y lo que pasa es que entonces dice el ego, no, ¿cómo así? Entonces si no lo sigo, entonces voy a sentir culpa. Y no, es que si no lo sigues, vas a seguir a la culpa, algo así.
That's what the ego doesn't want to see. it's not following, because Jesus is going to lily pad you through those things so that you're not beating the tar out of yourself.
Porque Jesús te va a mostrar dónde estás alimentando esto.
And stuff may still come into awareness to be healed. It doesn't, you still have to look through things, but it's faster than the avoidance and constant death experience that you're
Pero
calling
entonces
upon
aún
yourself.
tienes que mirar estas cosas que salen a la conciencia, pero aún así es más rápido que mantenernos negando.
If you really saw it, when you see it, it's like when we follow him enough, you're going to see it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm turning down myself. I'm turning down everything given by the Father.
Porque es como querer negar todo lo que estoy recibiendo del Padre.
I'm turning it down. But you don't see it at first. You don't see that you're turning down heaven by not following guidance.
Pero tú no te quieres dar cuenta de que estás renunciando a esto si no sigues la guía.
So Miracle-Mindedness requires that you ask Jesus who to join with to get clear on what the guidance is too as well.
Entonces, la mentalidad milagrosa es también ver que Jesús te dice con quiénes te tienes que unir para mirar lo que tengas que mirar.
It cannot be emphasized enough how important it is to join with a brother who's uncompromising about following.
Y no puedo dejar de enfatizar suficiente lo importante que es unirte con un compañero que no transinja en el seguir la voz.
Because the ego is going to avoid that like the plague. It wants to find the ones that are going to agree with its plan for hell.
Porque el ego va a querer que te unas con el hermano que está de acuerdo con tus planes.
It's going to, it's going to breathe, the ego breathe a sigh of relief going, oh my gosh, I got myself out of that one. Thank goodness. And it goes like this.
Y el ego, sorry, can you say it again?
So the ego, there's something that comes in guidance, but the ego goes, oh, I'm going to go do this over here. Something out of guidance.
Entonces viene una guía y entonces el ego va a decir, no, mejor ven, hacemos alguna cosa que está fuera de la guía.
And then it's going to pretend like, oh, this was calm and this is the right thing to do. And it tells itself a little story about how that other thing was bad and how what it's doing is good.
Y comienza esta contarse esta pequeña historia de cómo seguir la guía era malo y cómo estar haciendo lo que está haciendo es bueno.
Okay. It doesn't tell a lot of stories about guidance.
Todas las historias acerca de la guía.
Unless it's in purpose. It can be used purposely by spirit. Okay.
Aunque esto puede ser usado en propósito por la guía.
But you have to see how deceptive this thing is. So all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I dodged that bullet. Oh, I'm so relieved. And you're going to feel like a sense of relief.
Y vas a creer que es como una sensación de liberación.
And so the way we play with ourselves is we then spread this thing out on a timeline so that it's like whack-a-mole. It's going to pop its ugly head up in not too much time. There'll be guilt. There's all this guilt. There might be pain. There's just all kinds of things that come into display that we desire to experience that's painful.
Y van a surgir todas estas cosas y va a sufrir y va a ser doloroso.
You can ask them, am I doing that to keep guilt in my mind? That's why it's important, that guidance worksheet, real honesty on the guidance worksheet.
Y entonces ir y mirar, ahí la importancia de la hoja de trabajo de la guía.
And to see and admit in honesty of God where you're not following, where you're trying to keep guilt, because the ego can tell you, oh yes, this is from God.
Y entonces mirar cómo no seguir la guía genera culpa y el ego va a querer decir, no, esto viene de Dios.
You have to really be attentive to where you're choosing hell over heaven.
Y tienes que estar muy atento a dónde estás eligiendo el infierno por encima del cielo.
And really join with the brothers that you're given to help you be clear. He's giving you a gift in that, but it's going to make the ego really mad. See?
Y ver que y unirte con el hermano que es el regalo que se te ha dado, y aunque al ego no le va a gustar mucho eso.
Because once the unequivocal listening and following steps in, you're not engaged in the little hell play anymore.
Porque cuando sigues inequívocamente la guía, dejas de invertir en el infierno.
And you see what you're really choosing when you're choosing with the voice for God.
Y darte cuenta de lo que estás en verdad eligiendo cuando eliges a Dios.
Unequivocal following is miracle-mindedness.
Un seguir inequívocamente es una mentalidad milagrosa.
It's celebration. It's just because the mind's constantly in a state of love, in the state of miracles, which is acceptance of the love of God.
Y es estar en un estado de amor donde se acepta todo el amor del Padre.
It's no longer hunting for hell or making exceptions.
Es no seguir buscando el infierno y haciendo excepciones.
It's no longer accepting a story that being with God or seeing the truth is sacrifice.
Y es no seguir aceptando que la verdad exige sacrificios.
It's sitting in the I am determined to see.
Es sentarnos en el yo estoy determinado a ver.
And my only function is completion.
Y mi única función es la compleción.
And to know that every lesson, to look at a lesson and live it and just see that is it.
Y mirar cada lección y darnos cuenta que en verdad sí lo es, lo que dice.
They're no longer a concept. It's you see that it's a mirror to the divine light within. He's shining that mirror right in there.
Que es un espejo que refleja toda la luz del ser interior.
It's just happiness. That's all he's offering. That's all he's trying to whisper in your ear is you are happiness.
Y porque eso es felicidad y eso es lo que él está tratando de susurrarte en el oído. Tú eres felicidad.
So does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask about?
Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta que quiera hacer acerca de esto.
About this beautiful topic of miracle-mindedness. It's spectacular.
Acerca de este maravilloso tema de la mentalidad milagrosa, espectacular tema.
Sí. You can just put your hand up. I don't even know if we can see everybody. There's quite a few people. Let's see.
Vamos a ver.
Oh, okay. Lori has a question. Let me see if I can get her on camera with me. I'll come sit over.
Lori tiene una pregunta y está girando la cámara.
Just kidding.
Okay. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Jesus.
Gracias, Kay. Gracias, Jesús.
Can you remind, you mentioned this,
Tú puedes recordar, tú mencionaste esto.
places of denial of the miracle.
Lugares donde niegas los milagros.
One, the secondary gain.
El juego secundario.
And 2, do I see a miracle as sacrifice that I'm
Eh,
losing?
Eso era el primero. Y el segundo es, the second one is what? Sorry.
Do I see a miracle as sacrifice that
Eh,
I'm
veo el milagro como un sacrificio,
losing something?
que estoy perdiendo algo.
Can you share again on that?
¿Podrías compartir en eso, por favor?
Okay, good question. This is really important for understanding why we're not in miracle bliss all the time.
Y esto es importante verlo porque para darnos cuenta por qué no estamos bajo la bendición de los milagros todo el tiempo.
And Jesus talks about in the course, that course is spectacular. It's spectacular.
Y Jesús habla de eso en el curso. Este curso es espectacular.
So the only way this crazy dream bubble can exist, the dream,
La única forma que burbuja del sueño exista, que este sueño exista,
is for a desire for an experience, a dream of something other than holiness.
es por el deseo de tener una experiencia diferente a la plenitud, a la santidad.
So if you've seen the dream bubble diagram, if you haven't, just text us, we'll send you a link to it. But it's basically shows the desire. So it's like light is everywhere. And then there's the tiny mad idea to dive and kind of like an ostrich, stick your head in the sand, and go, this is heaven down here in the dark.
Entonces es como la burbuja loca, y si no la tienen, me nos pueden escribir para que se la enviemos. Entonces lo primero que hay es la luz, la plenitud. Y luego entonces nos queremos meter en esa burbuja como estos animales que meten la cabeza en la arena y no querer ver.
So you would think, okay, let's look at that ostrich. It's got its head stuck in the ground, right?
Como esta, no me acuerdo cómo se llama, ostrich. I don't remember the name in Spanish.
The word for ostrich?
Yes, ostrich.
Oh, let's just go to our... Okay. Ostrich.
Avestruz.
Avestruz. Ok, como la avestruz que mete la cabeza en la arena y no quiere ver.
Okay, so you would think now, come on, the ostrich has got to pull its head out of that hole. Sooner or later,
Say it again, Kay.
That ostrich has got to pull his head out of that hole sometime, wouldn't he? Wouldn't we want to
Sí.
not stick our head in a hole like that?
Y esta avestruz va a tener que en un momento sacar la cabeza de la arena.
But what happens is, instead of seeing that the light out here is heaven, it has to keep its head stuck in darkness like that. It has to pretend like its head in darkness is where heaven is.
Y entonces cuando metemos la cabeza, entonces tenemos que pretender que esa oscuridad es el cielo.
We laugh at the joke, you're looking for sunshine in a dark place, but that's exactly what we're doing.
Y estamos como buscando la luz en el lugar equivocado.
It's
Y
really
eso es
funny.
lo que estamos haciendo exactamente.
It's funny when you see how right Jesus is. So
Es muy divertido cuando te das cuenta lo correcto que está Jesús.
So what happens is this confusion in the subconscious mind happens where we're insisting that these desires are valuable. We're going to get heaven there's a way to get heaven through these desires.
Tenemos que darnos cuenta que está esta creencia de que vamos a obtener el cielo a través de estos deseos.
And you'll look with him and you'll see, when you look carefully, let's just say the desire for the experience of the brother stealing heaven from me.
Por ejemplo, podemos mirar el deseo del creer que mi hermano me está robando el cielo.
Now, if we all talk about it here, we go, well, that's nuts. Who can steal heaven from you?
Y ver que quién te puede estar robando el cielo.
But if that desire is in the subconscious mind, you are experiencing that every hour of every day.
Pero si ese deseo está en tu mente subconsciente, lo vas a estar experimentando cada hora, cada día.
And if you ask Jesus, the reason you don't accept a miracle on it is because you believe somewhere in your subconscious mind that that desire experience has value. You can get something from it.
Y si aún permanece este deseo es porque aún crees que hay algo valioso que te da este deseo.
And that's the real turn when he shows you think you can get something like happiness or peace actually from the experience your brother stealing heaven from.
Incluso
Stealing heaven.
que creas que esto te puede dar paz o felicidad, la creencia de que tu hermano te puede robar el cielo.
So secondary gain is a term used in psychology for something hidden that that is getting a benefit, thinks it's getting a benefit from something.
Y el juego secundario es algo que se usa en psicología para mostrar el beneficio que obtienes de esto.
So you need Jesus to show you the secondary gain. What secret gain do you think you're getting that you think you can get heaven from your brother stealing heaven from you?
Entonces tienes que mirar, dejar que Jesús te revele el segundo juego, donde crees que hay algún beneficio de creer que tu hermano, o que ganas el cielo de creer que tu hermano te está robando el cielo.
You know, or weakness. You'll see weakness, that in weakness you think there's love in weakness. When you start looking, you can see that there's some kind of confusion in the subconscious mind that weakness is a good deal.
Y entonces, por ejemplo, la debilidad. Entonces hay algo en la mente subconsciente que te dice que es bueno, que tienes algo bueno de ser débil. Y esta confusión es lo que hace que tenga esto valor.
So that ostrich believes that its happiness is keeping its head in that hole. Like
Entonces esta avestruz cree que se logra la felicidad manteniendo la cabeza metida en la arena.
And the only way you're not accepting a miracle is because you believe that some kind of happiness or peace or power or something like that is coming from keeping that desire to deny inner light.
Y entonces si aún quieres mantener este deseo, es porque crees que obtienes felicidad o poder y por eso lo quieres mantener.
Okay, so there's a belief that that denial, there's a secondary gain of benefit from keeping the denial going.
Entonces hay esta creencia que mantener el deseo te da este juego secundario.
So because there's a belief that there's some kind of heaven, like I can get heaven through this experience I'm having in this world.
Entonces, como está esa creencia que puedo obtener el cielo a través de esta experiencia en el mundo,
There's also a convincing that if I give this up to a miracle, if I see through this, that this desire is not real, it's sacrifice. I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose heaven if I release this to a miracle.
entonces está la creencia que si yo libero esto a un milagro, entonces voy a perder lo que yo estaba ganando, creía que era el cielo.
I'm going to have a sacrifice. I'm going to lose something if I follow Jesus.
Voy a tener un sacrificio si sigo a Jesús.
So that's what the ostrich is saying. If I pull my head out of this hole, I'm losing something.
Si saco mi cabeza de esto, voy a perder algo.
And you'd think, God, that is a nutty, crazy little ostrich.
Y esa es entonces una loca avestruz.
But you'll hear yourself if you listen carefully and you're not getting a miracle, will see for sure he will show you that you do believe you're going to have sacrifice from that miracle, that you're going to lose something if you get the miracle.
Y entonces si no estás obteniendo el milagro, tienes que escuchar que no quieres entregar esto a, que hay alguna clase de sacrificio si
And
entregas esto.
that ostrich does not care that all the oxygen, all the love of the Father, all the light is out when it pulls its head out. Instead, it goes, no, I'm stubborn. I'm going to keep my head in this hole. And that's exactly what not following is.
Y entonces está como esta avestruz que dice que no quiere ver lo que hay afuera y se quiere mantener en la arena. Me perdí.
But
The last
once you,
part, sorry.
yeah, but once you see the game, you're going to drop those desires like hot potatoes. You're going to realize that will never be a way you can get heaven through those desires.
Pero entonces cuando te das cuenta de este juego, vas a soltar estos deseos como si fueran papas calientes, porque sabes que no puedes obtener la felicidad a
And
través de ellos.
and anybody who's in the chapter 20 where you're looking at 80 different desires, that's just a chip of the Course in Miracles iceberg in that book.
Y entonces para los que están mirando el capítulo 20, estos 80 deseos son como el iceberg de ese libro.
But it's so helpful because it starts the deep relationship with Jesus so he can start guiding you to the fastest way to release all the desires to deny divinity.
Pero entonces si seguimos a Jesús, estamos haciendo el camino más rápido para aceptar la divinidad.
And where you've tricked yourself into believing it's sacrifice to accept God's love.
Y donde nos estamos engañando a nosotros mismos para creer que el sacrificio, que se requiere sacrificio para aceptar el amor.
And where you believe things of the world will bring you heaven, happiness, and peace.
Y donde estás creyendo que en el mundo, que el mundo te va a traer paz y felicidad.
But see, once you've gone with him and he's directed you enough time and you kind of get the play, you got to do specifics like this first. You know, the 80 in the back of that chapter is a great start.
Entonces estos 80 deseos son un maravilloso comienzo.
Because you're really learning to listen to him and you're learning he's showing you the secondary gain. He'll show you where you believe there's some kind of benefit.
Y porque estás aprendiendo dónde estás negando, dónde está el juego secundario.
He's going to show you where you're avoiding miracles.
Y te está mostrando dónde estás evadiendo los milagros.
All it's going to show you is how powerful you are, really. That you
Y
have
lo que te está mostrando es lo poderoso que eres.
not to invest in these things.
Y que tienes el poder de no seguir invirtiendo en esto.
And you'll hear yourself talk about how it's sacrifice to follow.
Y te va a decir lo que crees que te genera sacrificio, seguirlo.
That's why we have these uncompromising mighties to call us out.
Y por eso es que están estos poderosos compañeros que no transingen.
Thank you, Lori.
Gracias, Lori.
That clear? It covered the tear. That was a good question because that is fundamentally important to understand if you want to be miracle-minded.
Porque esto es fundamentalmente importante aprenderlo si quieres tener una mentalidad milagrosa.
There is no substitute for the direct experience of how that secondary gain happens in the subconscious mind.
Porque es muy importante ver ese juego secundario en la mente.
And then see that enough with Jesus so you just start going, no, I'm not even going to play in that field of sacrifice and that there's some kind of heaven in these desires. I'm going to go direct for a miracle.
Y ir con Jesús y decir, no, voy a jugar este juego y voy a ir por el milagro.
See, you won't follow. At first, he's got to convince us and show us where we have heaven and hell flipped.
Y primero es ver cómo, y ver cómo tenemos invertido el cielo y el infierno.
But see, once you're miracle minded, is your mind switch over and you just go, I'm only accepting a miracle. When he shows me something, I'm going to change my mind about it. You
Y
know,
porque cuando Él te muestre alguna cosa, simplemente aceptas el milagro y aceptas ver esto de manera diferente.
it's a straight shot then. He can really help you heal, see, because you're just going for miracles. You're very miracle minded, focusing on whatever he shows me, I'm going to see the truth.
Vas con Él para que te muestre y cualquier cosa que Él te muestre, voy a ver, dices, voy a ver la verdad, no importa qué.
So you also have to be determined to hear that voice clearly enough, clear enough desires not to hear the voice, and be determined to hear the voice so that he can help you at that level.
Entonces, tienes que estar determinado a escuchar esa voz y determinado también a mirar las negaciones de querer escuchar, de no querer escuchar esta voz.
And if you're not sure you can hear him, then just join on the light circles and just keep looking in the light circles and join the movies so you can learn how to hear that voice using movies.
Y entonces unirte a los círculos de luz y también a las películas para aprender a cómo escuchar su voz.
And I'm asking if during this movie marathon he'll point out where there's secondary gain. See, when people aren't following him, there's some kind of secondary gain. There's something that they don't want to see in the mind.
Entonces, me está diciendo que en estas maratón de películas vamos a ver el juego secundario.
So it's a good opportunity to become miracle minded. But those light
Entonces,
circles
es una
are
gran
miracle-mindedness.
oportunidad para tener una mentalidad milagrosa.
That's all they're for, is to become miracle minded, be consistent. It takes a lot of consistency, a lot of looking, a lot of washing out.
Y entonces, para mantener esta mentalidad milagrosa se requiere mucho mirar y mucho limpiar.
Cleaning out the ideas where you don't trust your brother.
El limpiar esas ideas donde tú no confías en tu hermano.
Cleaning the ideas that there's some advantage to keeping one foot on the dock and one foot in the boat of God, you know, just trying to split your worlds, that parts of the world are going to work. You're determined.
Permitir que te muestre dónde quieres tener un pie en el barco de Dios y otro pie en el muelle.
And all that has to start washing out through that deepening relationship with Jesus and him coaching you, and then trusting him and trusting him and trusting until you just see there is only the miracle of value.
Y entonces permitir que Jesús te muestre y confiar en Él para que te muestre y ver que lo único valioso son los milagros.
And ceasing, I'm talking to you about miracle-mindedness, is ceasing to value the valueless.
Y dejar de negar lo que no tiene valor.
You know, it's just pointing directly to that unending celebration is all that is. That's all, you know, it's miracles, just to accept the love of the Father, you know, and then it's like he's saying that it's somewhere, I know I read it in the Ur text, he's saying it's a Course in Miracles. It's that unbroken chain of love, you know, it's no longer being seemingly broken up by these little spots of hell on a stick.
Y parece que lo dice en el curso de milagros, pero Jesús dice que es no permitir ser afectado por todos estos como palos y cosas que ponemos al amor que
So that's
somos.
basically what the light circles are. See how much hell relished.
Y esos son los círculos, darnos cuenta de cuánto disfrutamos el infierno.
You can ask him, you know, talk to him directly, have him tell you, Jesus, do I think I can find peace in love in death?
Entonces, puedes dejar que Él te muestre y pregúntale a Jesús, creo que obtengo la paz
Muerte.
en la muerte. Thank you.
It's instructive when you see that you think, because you can read it, you can read the course as many times you want, but you gotta grok this on the inside. On the inside.
Pero tú puedes leer muchas veces el curso, pero necesitas que esto llevarlo adentro.
Through consistent joining with your brother to see what's true, see what's true, see what's true, cease to deny, accept miracles, accept miracles.
Unirte con tu compañero y dejar de negar y aceptar los milagros, aceptar los milagros.
Until you're willing to admit the only thing of value in this world is the miracle, changing our mind.
Hasta que logres darte cuenta de que lo único valioso en este mundo son los milagros, es decir, es el cambio de mentalidad.
And there's nothing that can stop you from hearing the voice except a desire, hidden desire not to hear it clearly.
Y que nada te puede detener de escuchar la voz a menos de que esté el deseo escondido de no querer escuchar la voz.
Thank you, Lori. That just got.
Gracias, Lori.
You see, when you speak that voice, it's the celebration. It's for you, because I learn when I'm talking what he's telling me, he's teaching me. See, it's an ongoing learning, teaching.
Porque cuando yo me doy cuenta que cuando estoy hablando y lo estoy escuchando y estoy hablando, él me está enseñando.
Anything else? Anyone have any questions?
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta?
Well, I think we're going to ask and see. I don't know if Lori set up to play something for us tonight or not. Yeah. She has something. Yay! Oh, is someone asking something? Let's see. Someone's breaking up. Okay, so Maria, you're on mute. Oh, Oraluz? Is that right, Maria? Or maybe
Yeah, but I can hear.
I can't hear either. Your
No,
sound.
no te podemos escuchar, Aura Luz.
We getting no sound, beloved.
No estamos teniendo sonido, amada. Dice que
Can you ask her if she can jump off and come back right back in? Sometimes that'll solve the sound problem.
A veces es útil que te salgas y vuelvas y entres y eso puede mejorar el sonido.
Hola.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Hola.
Hola, sí, ya te
Hear you
escuchamos.
better.
Un poquito mejor. No, se te escucha cortado.
Buenas noches.
Yeah, she's gonna probably have to leave and jump back in.
Parece que vas a tener que salir y volver a entrar.
Can she do that? Well, we can't really hear if she can do it.
Lo podemos escuchar si ella puede hacer eso.
Let's see if she's able to jump off and come back.
Es posible que salgas y vuelvas y entres, Aura Luz.
So just tell her if she quits the meeting and then hits the link to come back in again, we might be able to hear her.
Yeah, I tell her already.
Okay.
Twice.
Okay. Well, if you can't get your question asked, you can text it to us and then I'll answer it. I'll answer it in a post or a video or something.
Mira, puedes escribir la pregunta, enviársela por un mensaje y ella te
Hola.
va a responder. Hola.
Or she could try to type it in the chat.
O puedes tratar de escribirla en el chat.
¿Se escucha?
Can she put it in the chat?
¿Podrías escribirla en el chat?
Buenas noches.
Lo único que medio te pude escuchar es buenas noches, pero no escuchamos.
Yeah, we just can't hear you at all. The sound is breaking up.
El sonido se está cortando, entonces, yes, go ahead, okay.
Yeah, if you don't have strong Wi-Fi, you have to move as close to your router as possible. You can also put on a headset.
Si no tienes un buen internet, te toca que te hagas cerca del router y incluso que uses los audífonos.
So we'll just put that out there for her to send the question. We'll try and answer it. Is there anyone else that wanted to have a question? And then we can invite Lori to come sing for us.
Entonces, ¿hay alguien más que tenga alguna pregunta? Y la pregunta tuya la puedes escribir, por favor. Y luego vamos con una canción de Lori.
Okay, then, yeah, she's still trying to speak. So you'll have to just tell her to, oh, here we go. Buenas noches. Okay, you're going to have to read that, translate that. Desire to not hear guidance. What is she asking me about not hearing guidance?
Ella está preguntando acerca del deseo de no escuchar la guía.
Okay, but you have to say it in English for me, so I make sure I'm clear.
Yeah. Okay. She's asking for the desire to not to hear the guidance.
Did you talk to Jesus about that? Oh, it's going to be hard to communicate.
Entonces va a ser un poco difícil comunicarnos, pero si Kay pregunta si has hablado con Jesús acerca de eso.
So tell her we're not going to be able to discuss it, but I can hear already that somewhere in the subconscious mind, she thinks it's sacrifice to follow him. If she hears she's going to lose something. She thinks she's going to lose something.
Lo que escucha Kay en estos momentos, aunque no se puede tener una comunicación completa, es que tú crees que vas a perder algo, tú crees que hay un sacrificio que hacer.
This is such a good one to jump on with a partner and join and ask Jesus to take you deep into the looking.
Este es uno muy bueno para tomar con un compañero y ir profundo en la mirada.
And then if you need to join on that, I hear yes to it, we could join.
Y entonces, si necesitas que nos unamos, escucho que sí, entonces que lo dejes saber.
If Maria will translate for us.
Si María nos traduce.
Okay? Oh, it's a lovely question. Every one of us needs to know why we're not hearing the voice.
Porque muy hermosa pregunta, porque todos necesitamos saber por qué no estamos escuchando la guía, la voz.
That is one of the first conversations worth having with Jesus, is just write and ask him, Jesus, why am I not hearing your voice clearly? And then you write down everything he tells you.
Y entonces hablar, claramente con Jesús y preguntarle, Jesús, ¿por qué no estoy escuchando la guía claramente? Y luego escribir lo que él te diga.
Okay, we're going to call Lori up here to give us a beautiful song. Let
Y
us know.
entonces vamos a llamar a Lori que nos dé una maravillosa canción.
Now, Patty, I have your video, so if you can give me like a thumbs up when she comes on that the sound is good, because we'd really like to get her that music beautifully in this.
Entonces, si escuchan bien la música, entonces pueden poner su dedito arriba y vamos a cerrarlos para que se escuche mejor el sonido.
You want wave?
Absolutely. And thank you for the lyrics.
Oh yeah, she sent the lyrics.
Yes.
Y la letra ya nos la enviaron por el WhatsApp. Sí, Evangelina.
Okay, now we just switched mics. Patty, can you give me a thumbs up? You can hear me okay? Excellent. Okay, let's see if we can get her rock our world. Celebration of all that is. Holy communion, unspeakable joy, celebration of infinite lights, peace to all seeking hearts. The light has come to offer miracles. Blinded by the world, yet you have eyes to see the love. Open to look upon blooming gardens of lights, water falling from the mountain, sparkling, listening, Holy Spirit, fulfilling the deepest call of the heart.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Stunning. Thank you, Lori. It's beautiful.
Gracias, Lori, hermoso.
Okay, the perfect song, Miracle-Minded.
La perfecta canción de la mentalidad milagrosa.
Thank you all for bringing your willingness.
Gracias a todos por traer su voluntad.
It's inspiring for all of us.
Es muy inspirador para todos nosotros.
So I just want to see you all, so I'm going to change the setting here. So I can see everyone and you can all wave. Maybe you'll jump on and wave bye.
Poderlos ver a todos.
And everybody can see everybody. Yeah. Oh, hi, Wesley and Angie. Hey. Oh, good to see Janice. We love you. We love you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Kat. Okay, beautiful. Oh, I send you big hugs, big hugs.
A todos les mandaba muchos abrazos.
Adios.
Gracias.
Mucho abrazos. Woohoo! Miracle-Mindedness. Go for God. Go for God.